This episode of ETC is brought to you by Moonbeam City on Comedy Central.
Aloha and welcome to Tech Tuesday.
Tech Tuesday.
Coming at you from the very tech-savvy island of Oahu.
Yes, it is very tech-savvy here.
Yeah.
And not relaxing at all. Just a bunch of uptight people doing busy work all
I
day
wish these
long.
Hawaiians would relax.
Yeah, just relax. We're getting this done as quickly as possible
Loosen
so we
your
can go
tie.
into the fucking water down there because it looks beautiful.
Anyway, guys, 2 weeks ago, we covered the story of Apple unveiling all their new iPhones, that new giant iPad, the Apple TV that you can play video games on, but no one's actually going to play games on it.
True.
With companies like Apple, there's always so much more going on behind the scenes in research and development that the public never hears about until Apple decides that it's good to go.
But despite how shady Apple tries to be with these kinds of projects, word gets around, especially when what they're doing requires all sorts of communication with lawmakers and government officials, like what's currently happening with the Apple Car.
What?
We've talked about it before, but we have some new details. So that's cool.
I mean, they've been working on this car for a while. There's been rumors about it for a while. According to a report in the Wall Street Journal that we didn't read because it's behind a fucking paywall, the Apple Car is only about 4 years away. They're saying they're trying to get it out there by 2019.
Yeah.
Not too far.
Apple's car division is codenamed Project Titan, and they're apparently on a hiring spree right now, trying to go from about 600 employees to 1,800, and that's as soon as possible. And they're recruiting a number of engineers from Tesla Motors, who obviously has just a fantastic track record in the past couple of years developing.
They saved the electric car.
Yeah,
they did it. Elon Musk.
Yeah,
Super
baby.
villain.
Anyway, while Apple's biggest rival, Google, has been focusing on self-driving cars, particularly their Fisher-Price model, insiders are saying that Apple's car actually won't be self-driving, at least not at first.
So really, what can we expect from Apple's first car? Well, obviously, it's going to be expensive because it's Apple.
Yeah.
Everything that they make costs significantly more than the competition. But aside from that, like, who the hell knows?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, cars are more and more dependent on little, like, tech sensors and stuff like that.
Well, I think if you want to get a good example of what Apple will do with this car, you just look at the current run of, I think it's Audi and VW.
Oh yeah, they have the Apple
because
cars.
they have Android,
right.
Android Auto, and it seems really cool. Like I've seen a lot of commercials recently about it, so I think that's with all things Apple, they're usually about a year or two behind Android. So maybe the car will be the same thing.
We'll
But yeah,
see.
you've seen the if you've been watching TV at all in the past like week and a half, you've seen the Android car commercials for VW, and it looks really convenient. It basically okay Google in your car.
Yeah.
And we just made a bunch of your phones go bloop.
Sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
Hey Siri.
Yeah. But moving on, we have some more news.
Yeah. So we previously covered this story about how AT&T, American Telephone and Telegraph, was forced to cough up $100 million for basically duping its customers and believing that they were somehow entitled to unlimited data, despite AT&T advertising the product as unlimited data. I could see where the confusion would come from. And now we have just the best update to this story.
Yeah, so because of all of the fallout and also the fact that competitors like T-Mobile actually offer unlimited data, AT&T has decided that you deserve better, and they're upping the cap on their data packages, which, yeah, still not unlimited, but, you know, at least they're bumping it up to a number that is acceptable in terms of 2015 data usage.
It's adequate.
It's adequate at this point.
Yeah, so previously their data caps were at a meek 5 gigabytes. Once you hit that, you were punished by getting throttled to nearly unusable speeds. Now, thanks to a recent change, that number is now a whopping 22 gigabytes per month before throttling will hit you. That's pretty good. For most people, that's more than
Yeah,
enough.
so 22 gigabytes, it's decent. So on my bill, which I consider myself a pretty heavy data user,
Yes.
I rarely connect to
Yes.
Wi-Fi because usually in places where it exists, it's actually not as fast as my LTE network, and I have
Yeah.
T-Mobile. My highest usage month was 15 gigs, and that is pretty high for mobile
That's
data.
a lot.
Yeah. So for the first time ever, I want to say cheers to you, AT&T. You just became pretty much a little less shitty in my eyes.
Yeah.
Although, if you had just given customers what they paid for originally, you wouldn't have been in this mess.
Why'd you have to go to court?
So fuck you still.
Yeah. Don't do it again.
Yeah.
Don't be evil.
But we got YouTube news. It's Tech Tuesday. We got YouTube news.
Yeah, speaking of justice being served, a San Francisco appeals court recently ruled that copyright holders can't be total assholes to people when issuing copyright claims and DMCA takedowns.
So back in 2007, a woman put a video on YouTube that featured her children running around the kitchen to a Prince song.
Yeah, it's cute. They're dancing around.
Universal Music issued a takedown notice on that, and for about a month, the video was removed from YouTube until the woman got YouTube to restore it after arguing that there were no grounds for the removal of the video.
Yeah. She then apparently had quite a bit of time on her hands being a stay-at-home mom, so she decided to take Universal to court. And
as you do.
All these years later, like
8 years later, the court has decided that companies like Universal need to actually consider whether something is fair use or not before firing off takedown notices willy-nilly.
Yeah.
The woman's lawyer says the ruling, quote, sends a strong message that copyright law does not authorize thoughtless censorship of lawful speech.
Quote, Congress gave copyright holders extraordinary power to send an email and take content offline. With that kind of power comes responsibility to consider whether the posting was authorized.
Thanks,
So they're
Uncle Ben.
Yeah, using that Marvel quote, Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spider-Man.
Yeah, Spider-Man can teach us all a lot.
But anyway, moving on to the rumor category.
Ooh, we got some good rumors. 'cause
Google has a
Android.
big event coming up next week on September 29th, and all eyes are on the new line of Nexus phones that'll be dropping.
Last year saw a solo run in the phablet category with the giant Nexus 6, and after having it for a few months, that's what I have now. It's kind of a letdown, yeah. Now the Nexus 5 was one of the best phones I've ever owned, so it's good to see that they're going back to offering a more phone-sized phone alongside an additional new version of the 6-inch phone.
So this time around, it's looking like LG is going to be taking the reins on the Nexus 5, and if the leaked photos are legit, it looks like a real pretty device. There were also some specs that leaked, and again, this is all unconfirmed, but if they turn out to be true, we're looking at the 5 being stuffed with a Snapdragon 808 and Heartbreak with 3 gigs of RAM, a 12.3 megapixel rear camera, and a 5 megapixel front, and a decent-sized 2700 milliamp battery.
One noticeable update to both of these devices is that they will both apparently feature USB Type-C. Now, USB Type-C is different in that it has a higher transfer rate, obviously, and it doesn't need to be flipped around 50 fucking times before being plugged in. God damn it! It's it has no back, so you just plug it straight in. It's like the Lightning port on Apple, right?
Which I hate too. So hopefully, the Lightning.
Oh, well, it's all wireless charging from now on, please.
Yeah, please.
IKEA has that wireless charging furniture. Just in 20 years, we're not even gonna think about charging cables.
Yeah. Of course, there's also the Nexus 6, which is being made by Huawei this time around. They'll be apparently coming with an option for 128 gigs of onboard storage, which is insane, but god damn it, if the leaked images we've seen floating around on tech blogs are to believe, this thing is fucking hideous.
Yeah, it looks like a submarine's periscope. It has this protruding...
It like juts out, it's got a butt.
Yeah, no, it's got a top butt.
Yeah.
It's like a protruding area on the top with basically houses the camera and the flash and all that stuff. So, I don't know, if maybe I can find a case that makes it somewhat normal.
Make the whole thing fat. I don't need phones to be a paper thin.
Yeah, no, it's not a big deal. But my thing is now that I'm used to the 6-inch screen, I don't really want to let it go for a smaller model. But I also want my 6-inch phone to look good, I guess is the simplest way to put it.
Also, we're probably going to get a look at Android M Marshmallow and all of its hot new features, and that'll give us a nice little preview for all the features that show up in iOS 10 a year from now.
Yeah, so that'll be fun. Yeah, that'd be nice. Aside from the mobile stuff, there's been rumblings of a Chromecast 2 being announced on the 29th. And, while there's no real info aside from that, I mean, I loved the original Chromecast, so I'm excited to see what they could possibly do with the 2. I mean, maybe...
Video games.
You never know, that could be true. And then I think maybe some onboard storage would be nice, even if it's like 32 gigs. Be able to, actually put it in and save some stuff to it.
Put your torrents on it.
Yeah, that way if you get to a place that has no internet connection, you can watch something.
Boom.
Yeah. So torrent our show. Please torrent our show. Please torrent this show and put it on your new Chromecast. Guys, that's all we have for Tech Tuesday this week because we want to go down and get in the goddamn water.
Yeah, it's beautiful here. Why am I sitting in my hotel room just doing work?
Yeah.
I guess it's because I get paid to do that.
Yeah, that's true. And if we didn't do this work, we wouldn't be doing this work.
Yeah.
So, you know how it is.
It's a circle of work.
Watch our podcast with the Schmoes where we talk about the fall movie lineup and our amazing debut on the Ultimate Schmodown.
Yeah, it's a pretty good one.
What else
Love
we got?
those guys. Let's see.
News dump.
Oh, yeah. The guy from the league lied about 9/11. It's real bad.
And then we did an episode of Tugs, which you shouldn't really watch. Because
it's not worth it. It's terrible.
Please go ahead and leave a like for every 1 ounce of jealous that you are right now about us being in Hawaii, and we'll see you guys
Let's go for about 7 likes.
All right, Keemstar. I'll see you guys.
Now at over 720,000 subscribers.